I would like to ask you a question. Are you able to forgive somebody, like really forgive somebody, who did something really bad to you? Well, let me tell you what happened in this week's Torah portion. The Jewish people are about to enter the land of Israel, and they're going to divvy up the land of Israel based on different tribes and based on the tribe size, and see each of the 12 tribes how much land they're going to get. What happens in last week's Torah portion, we see that many Jewish people died. 24,000 Jews died. So the number of the tribe sizes is very different. And now we have to know how many Jews there are in each tribe. So we're going to split up the land accordingly. Not long before, the Torah portion before that, we have a story of Korach and his rebellion against Moses. Him saying that I want to become the Jewish leader and so on and so forth. And because of that, there was a breakdown in leadership and so on and so forth. Not to get sidetracked with that whole story. But in this week's Torah portion, when we start counting different tribes, it tells us of how the tribe of Reuven has different family leaders, and it tells all the children's names and so on and so forth, of how many members there are in each family. And it mentions two family members, Datan and Aviram, and it says they were from the leaders of the rebellion of Korach and so on and so forth, and their children's names, and how many family members there are in that family. And it says, by the way, we're talking about the rebellion already of Korach. You know how Jews speak, we go from one story to another story, and it says, oh, talking about the rebellion of Korach, you should know that Korach's children did not die in the rebellion. Although it tells us clearly that Korach and his sons and 250 men who died with him were all swallowed up by the land in the earth. This was mentioned just a few weeks ago in the Torah portions. So what does it mean that they did not die? So Rashi, the famous commentator, right away points out that yes, of course, the earth swallowed them up. But because they repented at the time, they regretted right away in their hearts. Pay attention here. In their hearts, although the earth swallowed them up, it says that they were left alive, and later on the earth allowed them to go out, and they inherited parts of the land of Israel together with their children. And it's interesting to point out that in the book of Tehillim, the book of Psalms, we have Psalms that starts out saying, these are the songs of the children of Korach. Fascinating story. So all the commentators, of course, point out, what does it mean to say that God forgave the children of Korach? How could it be? They didn't even repent publicly. We know that they died. Over here it says they did not die. So in other words, something happened to them. Something occurred. Rashi points out they only repented in their heart. What went on over here? So here we see a fascinating lesson. And I think this is something that we could all take to heart. If somebody does something wrong, something so wrong that they came and rebelled against Moses, not just against anybody. They hurt Moses. They went and challenged his leadership. But they in their hearts knew what they're doing is wrong. God knew. No one else knew. God knew that they were doing what they felt in their heart, that they repented and they did not feel what they were doing is right, and they really want to change their ways. They just didn't have the guts to stand up against their father, but ultimately they regretted it. And therefore God said, I'm not going to punish them. I'll make like I'm punishing them, but I'm not going to punish them. God eventually takes them out of the ground and lets them live their life. This is a fascinating lesson for us, especially when somebody says, I'm sorry. To be able to let go and allow the person to be forgiven and allow ourselves to forgive somebody else. Do we have that ability to do so? I think we should be able to. If God could, we definitely can. And we see Moses himself did as well, of course. When they came to the land of Israel, Joshua, Moses' successor, went and gave them a piece of land like all the other Jewish people. This is a fascinating thing for all of us. A fascinating lesson, for all of us, to be able to forgive and to be able to move on and not hold grudges to other people. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom to you all. Shabbat Shalom.